Hello and welcome to this video. A couple of days ago I got asked by the BBC to have a little brief chat on one of their local radio stations because they were talking about learning an instrument, specifically the guitar, and why so many people try and learn the guitar and then give up. And they rang me up in my role as an influencer and pundit and ex-music teacher to give my advice. My advice was to lower your horizons, right? And find the motivational spirit in what you are doing. The reason why people keep playing and keep practicing and learning the instrument, and maybe you haven't, is because they love doing it, right? Every day when I go to bed, as I lie in bed, I then have this urge to pick up the guitar. Yes, that urge. And then I'll pick up the guitar and play it for a bit, and I'll put it down, and then about half an hour later, the urge comes back. I always just want to pick up the guitar, and I love to hold a guitar. I'm much happier holding a guitar like this than just sitting without the guitar, and I like the feel of it. I think it's a beautiful aesthetic object, especially this one, which is very pretty. This isn't an expensive guitar. This is an Ibanez guitar, like sort of mid-range, but this is my favorite guitar. And part of the reason why I love this guitar so much is because it's so pretty, right? These aesthetic elements of what makes, what pleases us is what motivates us to want to be involved with such a thing as this. And that's something to become very aware of when you start to learn the instrument, is rather than feeling that you've got to get a job done and tick boxes and perhaps, you know, reach a certain hurdle and be hardworking and, you know, practice with intention, all those things that make someone a good person, then when you can't do that because you're not motivated to, you will then think you're a bad person, and that will make it even worse. So the first thing on this lesson, because I thought, why don't I actually come down here and create an hour-long video, which is the ideal first guitar lesson. So say you bought a guitar and you couldn't get anything out of it. I thought, why don't I do a lesson here, and then you can sit here, you know, and follow what I say here, and maybe I can get that spark of motivation back up and going again, right? And if I can do that and that works, then you might go,
Andy, we need a part two.
And we will go gently forth, because the thing about learning an instrument, it does take time, all right? Now, at some point in this lesson, I will tell you why it takes time, and I'll make you aware of the problems you do have when you learn an instrument that you've got to get around. But the way you solve everything is through being motivated to do it, which means you enjoy it. Okay, that's very, very important. So we will start with the first exercise. What I want you to do is go and get your guitar, and I want you to put it like this on you. Right, I'm sat down, so I've got it up on my leg, and I've actually got my leg up here, right? And I put the guitar in, and I've got my arm coming over here, right? That's no good, is it? And that's no good. So just put my arm over it, and I'm just giving it a little bit of the sort of cuddle that you would do if you were also trying to keep it safe. You know, we're just going to just make sure we've got it. And then what I want you to do is just start to feel it all over, really, and just feel the shape of it. You know, feel the shape of it. See where your hand goes, you know, you can strum the strings, hear the sound, tap it. Just start to get a feel for it, so that you start to bond with it. You know, a little bit like a horse whisperer. You know, old Robert Redford, the old horse whisperer. Imagine you, Robert Redford, in the horse whisperer. You know, you can even whisper it to go, you know, hello, little guitar. You know, are you going to allow me? Because you've got to be respectful to such a beautiful thing. Would you be? I would be honoured if you would let me try and learn something on you, if you know, we're utilizing you and me together, bonding together, guitar and person together, because that's the unique bond. And if you listen very carefully, the guitar will say back, yes, but only if you say something, play something nice and beautiful. Nice and beautiful is going to be our criteria. starting on the guitar. It's going to be our only criteria. Not being able to play fast or counting the amounts of chords we can play. None of this is music. What's music is to play something beautiful. And the guitar sounds beautiful already. Did you not realise this? So what we're going to do is we're just going to pluck this. We got any string you like. I'm going to pluck this high one here, the one that's furthest away from my head. This high one here. We don't need to know the names of them or anything. That's called string, that is. And here's that's another string. And that's the other string. That's what the names are. Don't worry about the names. Set your horizons low. We'll worry about the names later on. Let's just get to know them in terms of what they really do. You know, their essence, which is the ability to do this. Listen. And as you pluck that with your finger, you begin interacting with the universe in a way that you probably never have before. As you hit that string, it vibrates, and it vibrates the air around it. But it vibrates the air around it in a very special way, because the waves that are created are consistent. That's wobbling at a consistent speed. And it creates a note. Now, notes are quite magical, aren't they? Now, the way this guitar is set up, it can produce, without me getting this hand involved, it can produce 6 notes. And I just want you, with your thumb, to just play these notes. Now, if you don't play the guitar before, that will be quite hard to do. And so you trying to learn a D chord on the first lesson, it's unbelievably hard. You know, you're being asked to play, you know, more than one string on more than one fret with all these things. Your fingers hold it down. It's going to hurt your fingers. You're not going to like being hurt on the first time. You don't want to have that in there. You've got to get to a point where you're enjoying the sound of this thing. See, I started playing the guitar not because I wanted to learn. I didn't have any lessons. So we had a guitar in the house, and I literally would pick it up and go, well, I wonder what this does then. And I start to pluck the strings. Now, I'm going to tell you in a minute, it's going to be our first proper exercise, what was the first thing I ever learned on guitar. I'm going to play to you in a minute. But that is not the first thing you really should learn, okay? The first thing you should learn on guitar, I believe, on your first lesson, is a dark art that was forgotten many years ago. People of my age are still able to do this esoteric we have this esoteric skill, but it got lost in the mists of guitar education at some point, and it's now become a lost art. And when I do have guitar students and I ask them if they can do this, they always look at me, you know, completely baffled, and hand the guitar to me, knowing at my age that I will be able, possibly, to be able to, you know, engage with this long lost technique. A little bit like meeting an old-fashioned teacher from the 1940s who can speak Latin compared to a modern teacher. They can't speak Latin. So the equivalent of speaking Latin on the guitar is to be able to tune it by ear, right? I believe this is the first thing you should learn, is tuning it by ear. It's quite an involved process, but the thing is that you are not going to attach emotionally to this beautiful little thing if it's not quite in tune. Now, I've tuned this deliberately, right? I've tuned this to what I would call beginner guitar tuning. Now, if you listen to that, you go, yeah, Andy sounds like a beginner there. Now, if you have managed to nail those chords, you know, and your guitar teacher told that, and you're sat at home doing it, and you're thinking, oh, I sound terrible. And that's what happens. People think, oh, I sound terrible. I want to sound good, and I sound terrible. That's what puts people off. Oh, I'm never going to sound any good. I sound terrible, right? So that's because their guitar's not in tune. Now, they might have a fancy box or a device on their little iPhone or whatever it is to tune it. No. You need to be able to learn to tune it by ear. And I'm going to show you how to do that on this lesson. It's very, very important, because it'll get you playing single notes, right? And I think learning single notes is the first skill you need to acquire on your very first lesson. Not chords, single notes. Once we've nailed single notes, let's put some single notes together and create a chord. It's a bit much. It's a bit much on the first lesson. Let's deal with single notes, right? So the very first thing would just be to sit here. Just get used to doing this. Now, what's very important, as I said, when you first start playing an instrument, is to explore beauty, to explore, you know, lovely things that sound nice. And the guitar's saying to you, make sure you play something nice. That's what the guitar's designed to do, is to play things that sound nice, that will please people. So these notes here, they all come from they all belong in C major. In fact, with this root, we're looking at sort of what, like an E minor tonality. So I can give you a whole bunch of music theory that justifies us playing these notes. But just start playing them and listen to them. That is my idea. I think one of the ways to develop musicality, which is what you should be doing first before you learn the instrument, and it's what's brought you here. Why are you here? Why do you want to learn this thing? Because you love music. You love the feeling it gives you, and you want to have more involvement in that feeling. And when you watch someone playing the guitar and producing all those notes, it's all lovely. You want to be into that. You think, I wish I could do that. But then when you try and do it, that doesn't happen. And so you go, this is terrible. And you become demotivated. So the key here is to learn how to play musically. And I have to be honest, it took me a long time before I remembered that the way I started to play the guitar was without this hand at all. I would pick up my dad's guitar and just hit the notes. Hit a note, listen to it. Add another note to it. Listen to the notes. Listen how beautiful are. Don't judge them. Just listen to them. So that one's got a high note. Can you hear that? There's a high note in there. Okay. Right. So that would be the first thing you need to do. But now we're going to look at tuning the guitar by ear. Okay. So we're going to take this one here, the one that's closest to us. Now this is the lowest string. It produces the lowest note. And you see the frets here. We're going to go up to the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the one here, right? Can you see these patterns on the guitar? We've got one here, and one here. These squares, and they correspond to the dots that you could see there. They correspond to that, so I can see where those are. We're going to go up to the 5th one, which is the 3rd dot on my guitar. It might just be the 2nd, but it's usually the 3rd dot there. And we are now going to fret the string. Right now, see how I'm fretting it completely wrong over the top, and I'm just pressing that down, and you're going to hit that note. You're going to listen to it, and then the next string up, the next string along, you're going to play those 2 strings together. Now, my daughter started playing the guitar recently, and I noticed that she had started playing like this with her hand above it. But she was producing, she was going, she was playing stuff like that. I thought, well, it sounds amazing. If it sounds amazing and you think it sounds amazing, it's amazing. That's basically what you do when you pick the instrument. You do something and you go, that sounds amazing. If it doesn't sound amazing, then you go, why don't I think it sounds amazing? Own it. Don't judge it on anyone else. It's only you. What will I do to make it sound more amazing? That's the thing you have to ask yourself the whole time you're playing. Okay? So, you can do it over the top like this. This is one way you can do it. Now, I don't know if you can hear that, but this note there is slightly higher than that one. This skill of listening with quality . So I'm going to take this the little turny thing here and turn that up a little bit. Now they sound the same. Now, I'll drop that off again. You can also come from underneath if you want. Hold that down. The skill I'm showing you here of listening and making sure they're in tune is more important skill than being able to play loads of different chords. That sounds okay to me. Let's move to the next one then. So now I'm holding down the same note here. The note I just tuned, I'm now going to hold down at the 5th fret, at the 3rd dot here. And that one's lower. That sounds okay. Then we're going to move to the next string here. And that one's lower as well. Now here, if you move to the next string here on the 5th fret, now this will be the 4th string away from you. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one here, just to make things really difficult and mess up guitar players for the whole of history, they decided to, rather than this being at the 5th fret, it's at the 4th fret. So you have to slide down to here. And then check that. And then you can return to do it from the 5th fret. So I move to the next string, which is the 2nd to last string, with the strings moving away from you. So I've now tuned it by ear, a lost art. Move it back. Lovely. Now they sound like they should be played. They sound lovely. Now we're going to go back to our original exercise, which is play the notes and listen to how pretty they are. Right, now I'm going to show you the first thing I ever learned on guitar. Right, this is the first thing I ever learned. Right, you can take this hand here, your right hand, or if you're left-handed, this will all be the other way around, but let's not get into that, you know. Right, so with the thumb, we're going to pluck the low string. And with our fingers, doesn't matter which one you want, you can do any of them if you want, I don't care. You're going to pluck the high string. Now these notes are different. One's low and one's high, but they're actually the same note, so they sound quite nice together. So I want you to do that, pluck those at the same time. Then we're going to move that note over to the next string, and we're going to move up to the next string. So now we've got these two strings here, right? We're going to pluck those and we get this. Now that's an interesting harmony. I like the sound of that. Okay, then we're going to move into the two middle strings and pluck those. Now this is enough for the first lesson when you pick the guitar up. When I say first lesson, you might end up just practicing this for a week. I just want you to pick your guitar up, go through that thing, familiarise yourself, or give it a nice little massage, love it. Give it a kiss, tune it up. This is a lot to do on your first lesson. And then I want you to practice doing this. Now, I'm trying to play those almost like a clock ticking or a bell chiming. It's very even. I want you to concentrate and not rush. So count if you want to, or tap your foot. These are very useful things, and feel it. Do every 4 counts like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, you've got your guitar all set up. You should be tuned up now. Let's do this together. And I don't want you to play this like an exercise. I want you to play it like it's a tune on the guitar. Yeah, but Andy, it's a simple tune. Anyone can play this tune. That's not the point, right? Music is not good because it's complex or simple. Music is good because it sounds nice, right? Your job, first of all, before you get complex, is to learn how to sound nice on the instruments. Now, if you turned up to a guitar session and you unpacked your guitar and they said, what do you want me to play? And they said, well, the tune goes like this all the way through. That is the job. Right? You say, well, why have you hired me to do this? Because we need someone to play it beautifully. None of us are professional guitarists. If you gave this to a better guitarist than me, they would sound better. They would get more out of it. Because everyone's had a lot of experience producing notes. Because where are you going to pluck it from? Do you want to pluck it from back here and get that really thin sound? Or here where you get a much sort of a richer sound? You won't hear that this much on electric guitar because we're all hearing it from here. But on acoustic guitar, you would hear a difference. But so you could start to experiment with that. So we're going to do this really in time, and we're going to do it for a while. So everyone ready? After 4, I'm going to show you how to count in. This is really basic, so I'm even going to show you counting. So we're going to go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you're all panicky, when we do this, I ain't going to be counting once we start. And hopefully my time should be okay. If you find that you're ahead of me, it's because you're rushing. We don't want to learn rushing from the outset. We want to learn how to play in time, in tune, in time, and produce a nice sound. That is the ultimate thing you should always be working on guitar. That is the most important thing. I used to say to my students, what are the most important things for a professional musician to have the attributes? And once they said all the obvious ones, like I'll be able to play fast, I'll be able to play complex stuff, we got down to 2 things that are absolutely essential, that if you don't have them, you will not work, you will not be able to be a musician. We boil it down to 1, and it's to be able to play in time. If you can't play in time, you've had it. Playing in time is more important than everything else except for 1 thing. And the 1 thing that is more important than playing in time is having a nice sound. Right? And that is a difficult thing, right? Part of it's down to the quality of the instruments, but it's more down to how you make a sound with your fingers. And the quality of sound can only be down to you. So that is what you are starting to learn. Everything in this lesson is not about building that much skill. It's actually about starting from another place entirely. And it's starting from the place of producing something that you think is beautiful. So you own the beauty. So that when you do this, you are sensitized to the communion you're having between you yourself and your inner mind and how you feel and what you hear. At an aesthetic level, not on an intellectual level, at an aesthetic level, and how that interacts with the world around you. You may suddenly become aware as you're doing this that you might think, I hope no one's outside the door listening to this because they'll think I'm terrible. That's the commune you're having with nature. That's not a good commune to sit there to think everyone thinks you're rubbish, or that someone's walking down the road, will they hear you? That's not what you should be like me. This is why I've got this great big window in my studio, you know, the great big window, because I can sit here and look up at the trees and I play for the birds and the leaves, the little shoots of spring. I'm talking to I'm being a part of it right now, opening myself up to what is out there. I'm not just opening myself up to what is out there like some Zen, you know, meditative monk. I'm actually a part of nature. I'm part of the beauty that's there, because this is beautiful. That's why this was made like this, to be beautiful. That's what an instrument is. That's what you're trying to learn. So let's do it then. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Try looking away. No mistakes with this exercise. I did go wrong then. But only wrong in human terms, not in terms of the guitar. Now, how long are you going to do this for? What do you mean, how long are you going to do it for? Why do you want to know that? If you sing some notes to go with it. Or whistle. Maybe you can separate the notes. The music must be in you. Don't you have to find the music? It's hidden deep inside you. You have to find it. You have to search for a long, long time. For a long, long time. Then it starts to reveal itself like a tiny, frightened child, knocked back by all those moral ideas of what you think is good music, of all the things that other people think. Are they gonna think you're a fool for doing such a stupid thing? Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, you need to learn how to make music. That space there is that's called the end. And you can feel it. You can feel the end. You can feel the beginning. You can feel the end. Now, as I start to play that, when I start to play something very repetitive and simple, something that's in my control, something that I can actually bring the quality control of my own view of the world, because that's why you want to play the guitar. You know why you want to play the guitar? Because you have your aesthetic view of the world, and that is arguing with the other bit of your brain. Go, oh no, we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing this. What will people think? What will people think? Yeah, but I want to do what Andy's doing. He seems to be expressing himself in the universe, in the moment at that time. You know, well, I can't sing, can I? I can't really sing. I'm not a very good singer. And I think obviously this on the guitar is pretty simple. anyone can master this little tune we've got. But actually, as I play this, you'll probably go, oh, that's the tune. That's the tune we were playing today. It's changed. Before it's just random notes. You've learned something. You've learned a piece of music on the guitar. You can play it well. And when you start to play, if you're too shy to sing or beatbox or whistle or, you know, tap your foot or stick some bells down your socks and get something to join in with it, you will feel a pressure start to come up there. You want to do more. You go, this is too easy now. I want more. I want more. Right? That is the motivation kicking in. Okay? And if when you get to that, you know, that feeling that you got at the end when it finished, you know, some of you might go, I got no feeling, but I had a feeling when it finished. That feeling's addictive. It's like a profound feeling of the sublime. And when you feel it, you want it more. Now, what are we going to add into it, right? We're going to add in some harmonics now. When's the chords come in? These were chords, by the way, well, they were dyads. And when they all rang together, right, we had basically we had an E minor 7 with an added 4. Oh, now you've told me the music theory of what we're doing. I feel so much better. Why? You great fool. It makes no difference. Okay, let's try adding a few things. Right, we've got these spots on the guitar. Later on, these spots and these things are going to be very important to us as we learn later on. So let's learn where they are. Now, how are you going to learn where they are? Well, you know when you press your fingers down, it hurts. This is a way of getting notes out of the guitar without pressing down. If you go to the two dots, I got 2 dots here. Right, that's very important. You see those 2 dots there? And that there, that dot there, you can see it's framed by these 2 that are further away than the others. You see, so we got these 3 here, we got these 3 here, and then we got these 2 framing this very important one. Now, what this one represents is that's exactly halfway of the strings, right? There's the strings, and if we were to like meet halfway, it would be here. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to put your finger not where you'd fret it, but actually, you see the actual fret itself, this metal fret here. I want you to put your finger on that and then strum it or pluck it, and then take your fingers away. This is one of the most prettiest things on the guitar. These are called harmonics. So the second exercise now is to start playing these and listening to them. Oh, would you shake the guitar? Does it make it vibrate? Yeah, it does, yeah. How do you know that, Andy? Because I've cherished the guitar and I've explored all the different sounds. All the different sounds exist. Now, if you go along all the other dots as well, you will find there's other ones. Some of them are really hard to get. Really high up there, they're really hard. But these ones here, the next one down. Right, move to the next one. And then when we get to here, this last one here, there's a whole bunch of ones around here. But they're really high up and they're hard to get. But I want you to focus on these 4. Sorry, these 3. It's exactly the same thing again. I want you to make a tune out of it. But this time I'm going to give you more aesthetic leeway. So one of the things that I think is very important, that when I practice, I never feel like I'm practicing. I always feel more like I'm composing or improvising, and I feel like I'm performing. All those elements should be in. So I'm now going to create a piece of music out of these. Shall we see what we've got? Right, now I just started to do some finger picking stuff. Finger picking is really important, I feel, to start to develop. Now, the exercises I've given today will start to develop finger picking because you'll start to pick notes like this. Finger picking is a really useful thing. Now, we are now going to do a chord. Yes, in this first lesson, there will be one chord. What will that chord be? Oh, it's probably going to do a D, isn't he? Or maybe a G. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm going to do an E minor. That is E minor. With the guitar is in E minor. We're in E minor. Doesn't matter, you don't need to know that, but we're going to start with an E minor chord. Now, the E minor chord, if I scoot in here so you can see where it goes, right, it's right down here, and we're going to press down 2 strings. Right, the first one will be that one there. See that one there? We're going to press that down, that one there. See, so there's my finger. I suggest you practice that. So I'm playing the second string away from me, and then right, you know, you are free to do whatever you want, right? There's nothing, you can't go wrong. The only thing you have to use is your taste. So, right, and then this one, we're also going to get that string there, and you should have a picture on the... Now, if I play that together and now strum it, that's an E minor. Now, what's very important when you press those down, that these fingers are actually pushing together. And what that will do is, because they are pushing together and creating like that force, which gives you a bit more power when you... Right, you will find you don't have to press down so hard on the guitar. So a word of advice, right, if you look at the back of the guitar here, that there, that nice curve there is the shape of my hand. You see, that goes in lovely there, right? And look, my thumb is on top. You're supposed to do it like this with your fingers in the back of your... No, for now, we're going to put our thumb on top, right? We're going to put our thumb, we're going to push it into there, and then we are going to get that strong, you know, Spider-Man grip that we've got here. Press down those 2 notes on the shape you can get, and then just squeeze, just squeeze lightly, not hard, right? Just lightly. How lightly can you... I'm really pressing down lightly. Then we're going to practice strumming it. Now you're going to strum it like this slowly and listen to the quality of the chord. And that chord's going to wrap around you and envelop you. And it's going to pick you up and take you off to another place. Where's that place? Where are you going now? Spain. And you're going to picture yourself as a flamenco musician. And you are going, the chord, the vibrations are going to intersect your soul. And you are going to channel your inner, whatever you call one of them chaps who sings the flamenco stuff. You know the type of thing I mean? You must do this, right? This is all part of you freeing yourself to express yourself creatively. I don't care who's listening outside. I want you to give it a bit of a... Now, that is not singing, that's a cry of pain. Imagine, you know, instead of doing this, you're banging a hammer in. Bang, bang, and then you hit your thumb. Then I want you, if you can speak Spanish, you can now swear in that Spanish, in the Spanish language. But I can't speak Spanish. So I'm just going to pretend I can. Voglio frido di bazzico, voglio la la. Olha you need to be the Yadadalia, Mino, no, having it. Oh, yeah, if the wife's not doing anything, you can get her to just walk around in a Philly dress. She can just bang her heels against the floor, you know. Oh, maybe she can shake her castanets around. I bet she hasn't done that for a while. Right, well, you've only got one chord, all right, so shall we play another chord? How about play the best chord in the world, the one we started with, the open chord? Sounds rubbish, Andy. I don't know. I hit my thumb again. I hit it and it hurt my big thumb. Now the missus has come out and she's shaking her castanets around. They're banging together, making a great big clangy sound. Oh, yeah. I think for me, I picked up instruments because I was really interested in sound and music. Not the sound of music, but I was interested in that as well. I like that film. I was interested in the sound of music. And right from day one, I was trying to create something that I could record or perform. I tell you what I had in my mind. I thought, yeah, everyone else is learning to play these instruments properly, but what if I can find something that's really easy but sounds cool and con everybody into thinking I'm good? And I'm pretty sure that was my method of learning. So if you want to know why I stuck at everything, it's because I felt like I was cheating everybody. All right? Right, so we've got this one down. This finger. What are we going to do with you? You're going to put it here where it naturally wants to go on that string. Well, it probably won't naturally go there, but are we now going to play an E major chord, right? The drawing's up on the board. Here we go. Ooh. You've now hit another problem. Strumming. You're gonna have to learn to strum. That's hard. Right, I suggest you do it like this. Get this hand here, right? Get these fingers here and then just, right, can you see how I'm doing that? That's your first exercise. We are playing E minor to E major. Come on, we're only 3/4 of an hour in. You got 2 chords down, E minor and E major. So I want you to write a little song, sing it, which tells you what the chords are, like this. E minor, E major, E minor, the minor version of E and the major version of E. Oh, it's E minor, now it's E major. Can you hear some tunes that go with these 2 chords? Sing any random notes, and if they don't fit, just move it around a bit till they fit the chord quite nicely, precisely, and make sure the chords fit nicely with what you're singing on E minor, E major. Now that's all strummed with basically those fingers there. See, the Spider-Man grip is on both hands. It's very important. Now we're going to do the up strum with the thumb. E major is a chord, E minor's another chord. This one is supposed to sound happy and this one sounds sad, but in the context we are playing, they both sound pretty morbid. Maybe all that music theory's a load of crap. You got that? Now we're going to put it together. We're going to go down, up. I'm failing at this at the moment. So hear this. It's not just my hand going up and down. It's going fingers, thumbs. Now there's a lot of motor function going on in this hand. Now I didn't get that from this. You know what I got this from? Oh, I go painting windows to earn a nanny's book. And forward down the garden, it's everything done. Oh, you can see, and you got painting the window clean. Yes, George Formby, that's how I learnt that. George Formby. Learn some George Formby songs. Don't get going learning Coldplay or any shite like that. It's only going to make you a worse person. You know, so yeah, always start with some George Formby.
Oh, then we've got nothing to worry about, have we?
We're nearly at the end of this. We're going to add another chord. Did you see this E major chord that we've now got? All nice and comfy. It should be on your fingers. Let's just pick that chord up, move it that way across the string. So we're going to pick it up. Yeah, see, it's going to pick it from there, right? You're going to pick it up and move it over to here like that. You got it? Now we get an A minor chord. It's up on the thing. You can take that finger off and on if you want. A minor, A sus2, and then an E major, an E minor, an A minor, an A sus2. Let's have a listen to this, because I'm become unmusical, you see. I'm strumming away and I'm playing them all right. They're not buzzing and all the stuff that you will be doing when you first start doing it. Right, so let's just listen to it. Let's do them in order. E minor, very pretty. E major. Move the chord over. A minor, A sus2. This is like a tune. Now my musical sensibility says we should start with the E minor first. Guitar part you got to play to make it sound very pretty. Just try randomly picking strings like this. You have had your first lesson. We've done more than you thought you would. It's not about the things you've learned. Just learn one thing, but make it good. I doubt at the end of this lesson you can do what I'm doing now, because I'm way better than you. If you just pick the guitar up and start with the things I've done, in about 2 weeks you should be sounding like this, not like a load of poo. You can do it, you can lick the guitar, not really, but when you're doing that cuddling, it wouldn't be going too far. And give it a kiss or two, and some talcum on its bum. The guitar is lovely. E-bagum, yeah. You can do it too. Oh, you can do it too. This is a feel-good song that tells you you can do it too. You can do it too. Oh, you can do it too. Oh, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And relax. That has been the ultimate beginner's guitar lesson. It's all there for you to do. It's not that hard. Stuff at the end's hard, but if you go through this now, what does it mean to practice? Right? What you've got to do is those rough things, they're not as important, right? So the stuff at the beginning is really important. Pick the instrument up and listen to it. Don't play it, listen to it. If you want to learn the piano, right, don't just try and play these pieces your piano teacher's giving you. Sit down and hit the notes. Listen to what it sounds like, you know, press the different pedals down, all that type of stuff. Same thing with the drums, tap the drums, hit them, you know, play a rhythm just on the hi-hats, play a rhythm on the snare drum. You are the owner of this, okay? And there is nothing that you can do wrong. And really what you need is to shed, all the insecurities and idea that you have to be perfect, and that having lots of vocabulary means you can play the instrument. That is not the case. It is having a relationship with this instrument. Right, so 5 minutes ago, just tune that string down. When you string that string down the guitar, you get this. Right, and then we're going to take these notes here. See, so we've got a set. Remember those harmonic notes? So those notes are just the notes that exist on those two spots there. This is for those of you who want to have a mess around on another stuff when you've got all this nailed. So I've dropped this down, tune this down to a D if you've got a D tuner. And then just improvise. Strum.